Here we make a list of famous people who have been accused of sexually molesting underage kids. Some of these have received prison sentences while others have gone scot-free due to their positions of power. 1. Lord Mountbatten. Lord Mountbatten was the member of the British royal family, who was the second cousin once removed of Queen Elizabeth II. He served as the last Viceroy of India from February 21, 1947 to August 15, 1947. He was assassinated in 1979 by a bomb hidden in his fishing boats by the members of IRA. In 2019, files became public showing that the FBI knew in the 1940s of allegations that Mountbatten was a pedophile. The FBI file on Mountbatten begun after he took on the role of Supreme Allied Commander in Southeast Asia in 1944. It contains a claim by American author Elizabeth Baroness Decies that Mountbatten was known to be a homosexual and had a perversion for young boys. His driver from 1942 to 1943, Norman Neild, told the tabloid New Zealand Truth that he transported young boys aged 8 to 12 who had been procured for them. Admiral to Mountbatten's official residence and was paid to keep quiet. He was never tried in court in his lifetime, as he belonged to the royal family. 2. Bill Tilden. Bill Tilden was an American tennis player who was a winner of 10 Grand Slams and was ranked world's #1 tennis player for 6 consecutive years, from 1920 to 1925. He was one of the world's most famous athletes in his heyday. He was arrested in November 1946 on Sunset Boulevard by the Beverly Hills Police and charged with a misdemeanor for soliciting an underage boy, a 14-year-old boy with whom he was having sex in a moving vehicle. He was sentenced to a year in prison, but served 7.5 months. He was arrested again in January 1949 after picking up a 16-year-old hitchhiker who remained anonymous. This time the judge sentenced him to a year on probation violation and let the punishment for the charge run concurrently. Tilden served 10 months. After his incarceration, he was shunned by the tennis world. 3. Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry was a legendary musician who is credited as one of the architects of rock and roll music. He was arrested under the Mann Act in December 1959 after allegations that he had had sexual intercourse with a 14-year-old Apache waitress, Janice Escalante, whom he had transported across state lines to work as a hat check girl at his club. After a 2-week trial in March 1960, he was convicted, fined $5,000, and sentenced to 5 years in prison. He appealed the decision, arguing that the judge's comments and attitude were racist and prejudiced the jury against him. The appeal was upheld, and a second trial was heard in May and June 1961, resulting in another conviction and a 3-year prison sentence. After another appeal failed, Berry served 1.5 years in prison, from February 1962 to October 1963. 4. Roman Palansky. Roman Palansky is a Polish-born Academy Award-winning filmmaker. His most famous movies are Rosemary's Baby and Chinatown. In 1977, Palansky was arrested for drugging and raping a 13-year-old girl, Samantha Gailey. The incident took place at the Bel Air home of Jack Nicholson. He pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of unlawful sex with a minor in exchange for a probation-only sentence. The night before his sentencing hearing in 1978, he learned that the judge would likely reject the proffered plea bargain, so he fled the U.S. to Europe, where he continued his career. He remains a fugitive from the U.S. justice system and will be arrested immediately upon entering U.S. territory. 5. Michael Jackson. The King of Pop was accused of abusing 13-year-old Jordan Chandler by his father Evan Chandler in 1993. Jackson's legal team denied the allegations and accused the Chandlers of attempting to extort Jackson. The Chandlers filed a lawsuit against Jackson, which was settled after a financial agreement. Jackson was not indicted due to lack of evidence. He was charged again in 2003 after the release of documentary Living with Michael Jackson, in which he said that he saw nothing wrong with having sleepovers with minors and sharing his bedroom, by the Santa Barbara Authority, with 7 counts of child sexual abuse and 2 counts of administering an intoxicating agent to commit a child sexual abuse felony against Gavin Arvizo. Jackson denied the allegations again. The People v. Jackson trial began in Santa Maria, California, on January 31, 2005, and Jackson was found not guilty of all 14 charges on June 13, 2005. Choreographer Wade Robson, who testified in Jackson's defense at his 2005 trial, reversed his position and filed a lawsuit against Jackson's estate after Jackson's death posthumously in 2013 of sexual abuse between age 7 and 14. The allegations by Robson and another man, James Safechuck, a child actor in a 1987 Pepsi commercial, are the focus of the 2019 documentary Leaving Neverland. 6. Gary Glitter. Gary Glitter is an English former singer who is known as the father of glam rock. In November 1997, Glitter was arrested after a technician discovered pornographic images of children on the hard drive of a laptop that he had taken to a computer retailer to be repaired. He was sentenced in 1999 to 4 months in prison and placed on the sex offender register in the UK. He decided to leave the UK after his release from prison in 2000 and tried to move to Cambodia, but was deported due to suspected child abuse charges in 2002. After this, he tried to settle in Vietnam, where he was again found guilty of abusing minors and sentenced to 3 years in prison. 7. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn was accused of statutory rape in late 1942 by two 17-year-old girls, Betty Hansen and Peggy Satterley. He was acquitted after a trial, but his reputation was irreparably damaged. The actor died in 1959. In a 1982 interview with Penthouse magazine, Ronald DeWolf, son of the author L. Ron Hubbard, said that his father and Errol Flynn enjoyed a strong friendship and they engaged in sexual acts with underage girls. In 1961, actress Beverly Odland's mother, Florence, co-wrote The Big Love with Ted Thomey, which is a non-fiction scandalous biographical account of an alleged love affair between actor Errol Flynn and then 15-year-old Beverly. The allegations were corroborated by Beverly in 1996 in an interview given to Britain's Channel 4 documentary series Secret Lives. 8. Sathya Sai Baba. He is an Indian spiritual guru who founded the Sathya Sai organization, which has branches in 114 countries and followers whose estimates vary from 6 to nearly 100 million worldwide. In 2004, the BBC produced a documentary titled The Secret Swami, which featured an interview with Alaya Ram, former devotee of Sathya Sai Baba, who accused him of sexual abuse while he was underage. Because of Baba's connections with the corridors of power, nothing became of the allegations. 9. Woody Allen. In August 1992, Dylan Farrow, the then 7-year-old adoptive daughter of Woody Allen and Mia Farrow, alleged that Woody Allen sexually assaulted her in the attic of her mother Mia Farrow's Connecticut home. The sexual abuse is alleged to have taken place 8 months after Farrow learned that Allen had a sexual relationship with another of her adoptive daughters, Suni Previn, who went on to marry Allen in 1997. Allen alleged that the relationship prompted Farrow to concoct the molestation allegation as an act of vengeance. Dylan's charges were investigated by Connecticut State Police, which concluded that Allen had not sexually abused Dylan, and the allegation was probably influenced by Mia Farrow. Mia was also accused of child abuse by 2 of her children, Moses and Sumi, who also accused her of false allegations and of brainwashing Dylan. Dylan has repeated the allegations several times as an adult. The sexual abuse allegation were the subject of a 2021 HBO documentary series, Allen v. Farrow.